It's recap time. 3, 2. Hey, quick interruption, Future Chip here. If you're coming from the previous video and you already know the drill, you can skip directly to the recap. Otherwise, if this is your first time, I'll let you with the intro and enjoy the episode. 1. Hello everybody and welcome to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host Chip and this is not my usual intro. This is a bit of a special episode. Unfortunately, I will be away for a few days and I found out this interesting way of filling the gaps with recaps from previous episodes. If this is your first time here, use it as an opportunity to find topics that you might be interested in and go back to listen to the original ones. If you are a usual listener of the Shower Podcast, well, again, this might be a rehearsal of topics that you might be interested in. Otherwise, I understand if you want to wait for me to be back. But in the meanwhile, the podcast needs to continue and we need to reach day 365. Having said that, I will not keep you longer. Thank you very much for listening. As always, a like and a subscribe. They are always welcome. And now, recap time.
All right, let's dive straight in. We're doing something a bit different today.
Yeah, we're looking back, right? It's some recent stuff from Chip's Shower Podcast.
Exactly. Chip asked us to revisit a few, pull out some key ideas, maybe some funny bits, and, see how they connect.
Sounds good. A sort of best of recap, maybe?
Kind of. So if you enjoyed these when they first aired, great. If you missed them, maybe this gives you a taste. You can always go back and find the originals.
Definitely worth it. So, where are we starting? Chronologically?
Yep, let's go in order. Kicking off with episode 109, It's Not Worth It.
Ah, okay. Effort discounting. That's the main theme here.
Right. And what struck me was how deep it goes. It's not just deciding a big task isn't worth a small prize.
No, it's more fundamental. The episode really gets into how we might actually choose to do nothing. Just because it's easier than doing something potentially good for us.
Like putting off eating better or, those household chores that just seem too much effort.
Totally relatable examples. And then he uses that great analogy about starting at the gym.
Oh yeah, that was good. That feeling, that initial ugh, this is hard.
Exactly. But then, if you stick with it.
You get used to it, and eventually you might even be doing way more, but it doesn't feel as monumental.
And Chip's point is, by pushing through that resistance, maybe even failing sometimes, you kind of train yourself, you build up this tolerance, so the next effortful thing feels a bit less daunting.
Building resilience, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that idea, it actually connects really nicely to something we'll talk about later, this concept of stored energy.
Right, overcoming the it's not worth it hurdle is maybe the first step to building that. Okay, so next up was episode 110, It's Just One Drop.
This one's fascinating. It's about how tiny things, small actions, often unconscious ones, add up.
Yeah, how they accumulate and actually change how we see things, how we behave.
Especially, and this is key, when we're tired or overwhelmed.
That system one thinking idea, like your brain's on autopilot.
Precisely. When you're in that mode, you might not even notice these little errors, these slight shifts in your thinking as they're happening.
He shared that funny story, didn't he, about mixing up the episode numbers.
Yeah, because he was tired, recording a few back to back. It's a small thing, but it perfectly shows how your mental state leads to these little drops of, mistakes or maybe slightly off thinking.
And you don't even realize it at the time.
Right, and then later you might look back at something you thought or did and just go, how did I even think that?
It really highlights that gradual buildup, those influences stacking up without you really noticing.
Which is why the episode kind of pushes for more deliberate action. Acting based on your core values, not just these fleeting ideas that might have seeped in.
And connecting it back again. That it's not worth it feeling. If you're not careful, always taking the easy route could become one of those unconscious drops, right? A habit forming.
Absolutely. But on the other hand, making small, consistent efforts, even if they feel minor.
Those could be drops too, building up that positive stored energy we mentioned, almost without realizing it's growing.
Exactly right. Which leads us perfectly into episode 111. Keep struggling.
Okay, so this is where Chip really introduces this concept. Stored energy.
Yeah, he talks about it as this psychological fuel almost. It's something that builds up from dissatisfaction, from struggle.
And that energy, that feeling of being stuck or unhappy can actually become the very thing that pushes you to make a change. Or maybe find a better way where you are.
That's the idea. He mentioned being inspired by a philosopher talking about using your skills and the danger of the comfort zone, how it doesn't let you store any energy.
So the friction, the struggle, It creates frustration.
Right. And that frustration, according to Chip, builds this stored energy. It's the power you need for that leap, that enough is enough moment.
It's not always about some huge life change, is it?
No, that's a really important point he makes. Sometimes the struggle itself forces you to fix things right where you are, leading to a new, healthier kind of comfort zone without needing a massive upheaval.
It's about channeling that dissatisfaction productively.
And we have to mention the little bit of humor in there.
Oh yeah, the disclaimer.
The slightly tongue-in-cheek I invented myself thing about the stored energy concept. You can almost hear him smiling.
Yeah, adds a bit of personality. Okay, so after struggle comes adaptation. Episode 112, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, this one takes a longer view. It's about our, well, inherent ability to adapt, to get used to difficult situations, even tough memories over time.
It starts with that quote, right, from Breaking Bad.
That's right. About the moment you realize you haven't actually thought about something difficult for a while, it really sets the tone.
And Kip connects it to his own experience, going back to Rome.
Yeah, how old memories come up, but they don't, dominate his current experience. Because of adaptation, he's gotten used to them being part of his past.
It also dipped into some interesting philosophical territory, didn't it? Perception versus reality.
It did. Would we really want to erase bad memories if we could? He referenced that Black Mirror idea, editable memories.
Right. And the conclusion seemed to be that, well, feeling bad sometimes is normal. The problem is getting stuck on it, hyperfixating.
Exactly. Acknowledging the past, good and bad, but not letting it constantly overshadow the present. Acceptance is key for well-being now.
And thinking about the previous episode, this offers some perspective on those struggles that build the stored energy, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests that even when you're in the thick of it, feeling overwhelmed, eventually you will adapt. You'll get used to the aftermath, the new normal, whatever that looks like.
Okay, that brings us to the last one in this batch, episode 113. Identity is a canvas.
Ah, I like this metaphor. Identity as a blank canvas.
That we fill up ourselves, right? With experiences, passions, fears, all our quirks.
And the core message, the really strong push in this one, is about agency. We should be holding the pen.
Not letting fear of rejection or what other people might think dictate what goes on that canvas.
Right. He mentioned it came from a Toastmasters speech. Who's holding the pen?
Yeah. And he used that analogy of kids drawing themselves.
Oh, yeah, based on emotions.
Sure.
But then how they might change it based on feedback.
But the warning was crucial. Don't let negative feedback completely take over and stop you from drawing your picture, defining yourself.
He even mentioned showing his own visual identity canvas, didn't he? With little symbols for his life.
He did. Representing his home, moving, family, passions. Makes it really concrete.
And this episode feels like a great way to tie things together, actually.
But so?
Well, it emphasizes being intentional, being authentic on this whole journey we've been talking about, the one influenced by effort or lack thereof.
By those accumulating drops of experience.
By our ability to adapt to struggle and success.
And using that stored energy we built up.
Exactly. It's about consciously shaping that canvas, using everything we've gained and learned, and not letting external pressures or fear of effort lead to an unfinished or inauthentic self-portrait.
That's a really nice way to put it. So quite a journey through those 5 episodes.
Definitely a lot of connected ideas packed in there.
So there you have it, a quick look back at 5 recent deep dives from Chip's Shower podcast. Hopefully that gave you a good overview.
Yeah, lots of interesting stuff he's been thinking about.
And if any of these topics, sparked your interest and you happen to miss the original conversations,
we definitely recommend going back and giving them a proper listen.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us for this special recap.
Fun revisiting these.
We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new deep dive. See you then.
See you tomorrow.